There are two ways to drive to Grand Canyon, the South Gate and the East Gate. The South Gate is faster and more crowded. The East Gate is less used, prettier, and offers insight as to the formation of the Grand Canyon. The South Gate is by far the most used gate to Grand Canyon. It's a straight shot from Williams, Arizona, up State Route 64 to Grand Canyon. There are no views of the Grand Canyon on this stretch of two-lane road. There are occasional passing zones, and state and local police enforce the speed limit about half the time. Before the 1930s, visitors accessed the Grand Canyon mostly by train, the tracks of which parallel this stretch of road. In 1932, visitor traffic started switching to automobiles, and Route 64 was built to the Grand Canyon Village. There's not much to see on the way from Williams to the South Gate. Maybe the most significant landmark is Flintstone's Bedrock City in Valle, a mostly defunct roadside attraction, and that's not saying much. Right before you reach the South Gate is the town of Tusayan, with hotels and restaurants that serve the Grand Canyon. Gas prices are usually at least $1 a gallon more than market here, so it's a good idea to buy gas before you leave the interstate and head up to Grand Canyon. The South Gate admits the largest number of visitors to Grand Canyon, and the wait times can be up to 3 hours during the high season. Luckily, the canyon provides a webcam that allows you to monitor the line, and when the webcam is down, you can use your navigation program, but the most reliable source of traffic information is az511.gov, which provides real-time traffic reports at the gate and on the roads of Arizona. South Gate dumps visitors into Mather Point for the first view of the canyon. It's a nice but crowded viewpoint that requires a 15-minute walk to get there. A better alternative, if you enter the canyon from the South Gate, is to go to Grandeur Point. It should be pretty obvious by now that if I were to plan a first-time visit for a friend or relative to Grand Canyon, I would not encourage them to use the South Gate. The best introduction to the Grand Canyon, especially if you have time or if you're traveling from east to west, is to use the East Gate. But even if you're traveling from west to east, coming in from Los Angeles or Las Vegas, the drive to the East Gate is not too much longer, but the rewards are numerous. From east to west, using the East Gate is only about 10 more miles, and the travel times are longer if you follow the speed limits, but on wide open western roads, following the speed limits is rare. There's less speed enforcement going to the East Gate than the South Gate. But even if you are arriving from the west, the trip to East Gate is not that much longer. The drive from Williams to South Gate is about 60 miles, while the drive from Williams to East Gate is 139 miles. But if you plan to go north from Williams and then visit the Desert View Watchtower, that adds 50 miles round trip to your drive, making the drive to East Gate, which leads you right to Desert Watchtower, only about 30 miles more than entering through the South Gate. Also, during peak season, the wait at South Gate can stretch to 3 hours, while I've never waited at the East Gate more than 10 minutes. And please be aware that neither gate accepts cash for the entrance fee. You must pay by charge card. If you're coming from the east, the drive to East Gate can be trimmed even more by exiting the interstate at Winona and taking surface roads to Route 89. Taking Route 89 north from Flagstaff gives you views of Humphreys Peak, the tallest peak in Arizona, which you can also see from the Grand Canyon. There's snow on the peak for much of the year, and the aspens in fall are lovely. You turn from Route 89 to Route 64 in Cameron, Arizona, a town named after Grand Canyon entrepreneur who later became a U.S. Senator, Ralph Cameron. Route 64 from Cameron to the East Gate was opened in 1935. The road travels through the Navajo Reservation, where you can see traditional hogans with their doors invariably facing east. The journey is beautiful in its own right, but it is most beautiful to me because you can see how the combination of the uplift of the land and the carving effect of the Colorado River created the Grand Canyon. Unlike the drive to the south, which gives you no views of the canyon, the drive to the East Gate gives you a gentle introduction to the canyon. East Gate is generally less crowded than South Gate, but there's no camera that gives you a sense of the wait. However, az511.gov will let you see if there is a delay. Even in the high season, I've never waited more than 10 minutes at East Gate, and most of the time I cruise right through. Immediately after East Gate is the Desert Watchtower, designed by Mary Coulter with a bit of a Disneyland vibe, but it's a must-see for the first-time visitor. 2 stops down the road is Lippin Point, my favorite view of the Grand Canyon. Southgate is the fastest and most popular way to enter Grand Canyon, but for what it's worth, as a person who has visited Grand Canyon hundreds of times, when I designed a first-time visit for a friend who was dying of cancer, I brought her in through the East Gate. It really is worth the effort. Grand Canyon is stunning no matter how you get there. I hope you enjoy your trip to Grand Canyon, and thank you for watching.